Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So over the past 48 hours, there's been so many brain dead takes on Twitter that I'm actually getting a little bit overrun, okay? And I want to cover all of them, so today we're going to do a quick drive-by. We're going to do a quick compilation of all these bad takes, and your reward for sitting through all of these bad takes is some good news. An update on a previous story we covered where karma finally came around. But we're going to start off with this one, and is probably the worst take in this video. So this article states that age gaps between Tom Cruise and his female co-stars in Mission Impossible films verge on problematic. Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement to imply that Tom Cruise has a problematic age gap between him and his co-star in this latest Mission Impossible film. Well, let's see their ages. So Tom Cruise is 61 years old and looking young as ever. I don't know what those weirdos are doing in the Scientology temples, but they might have found the key to immortality. I mean, look at this guy. He's still looking young as ever. But nonetheless, 61 years old. Let's see his co-star in the latest film. Haley Atwell. She is 41 years old. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are calling a relationship between a 61-year-old actor and a 41-year-old actor's characters problematic. Yes, that is insane. As I just hinted at, besides the fact that these are characters and these actors aren't actually dating in real life, we are really trying to say that a 41-year-old woman is being taken advantage of in a relationship with an older man. Yeah, I'm sorry. These whole crazy age gap problematic dynamics that people are pointing out on Twitter are always ridiculous, but this one really takes the cake. I understand if a 60-year-old is dating an 18-year-old, that is very weird. I mean, the main thing is like, what do those two people have in common? But in this case, a 41-year-old and a 61-year-old, they have a whole lot in common. They're in very similar places in real life. And it's just more infantilization of adult women. You're telling a 41-year-old woman that they can't make decisions for themselves and they're being taken advantage of by dating someone who's in their 60s. Crazy take, but anything to protect the literal 41-year-old child, am I right? So moving on from one recent blockbuster to another, we're going to look at this brain-dead take involving Oppenheimer. Now, for those who don't know, Oppenheimer is a recent film. It came out about a couple days ago. It focuses on Robert Oppenheimer, who is a scientist responsible for the atomic bomb. He's considered the father of the atomic bomb that was used to bomb Japan to hasten the end of World War II. So let's read this tweet right here. This individual with 24,000 likes on this tweet, agreeing with their opinion, by the way, says, people seem to love Oppenheimer, but I'll just say it, I was uncomfy watching yet another movie about tortured white male genius when the victims of the atrocities glossed over by the script, Japanese people, in turn Japanese Americans and Native Americans, had no voice. So number one, any full-grown adult who says uncomfy, unironically, opinion immediately discarded. But nonetheless, this whole idea is crazy. So imagine my shock when I found out that the film called Oppenheimer focused on Robert Oppenheimer. But this idea on Twitter, you see this all the time, where if someone's talking about a tragic event or a tragic series of events, in this case, World War II, the fact that they believe if you don't mention every single affected victim and party, you're leaving them out intentionally. That's what they say. You must have been doing that intentionally. I'm sorry that a film was unable to cover the voices of every single victim and related party in World War II. It's just not possible. And in this case, you're talking about these voices. Do we really want to go that route? Do you want to talk about Japanese war crimes committed during World War II? Is that the voices we want to hear too? It's kind of hypocritical, but if two nukes weren't enough, a third one came through with this community note. Now, community notes are like the fact check system on Twitter. They haven't been used very much historically, but once Elon Musk took over, he has been pushing these a lot harder, and they are hilarious. So they added this context saying, Robert Oppenheimer was Jewish. His friends and relatives were murdered by Nazis, specifically for not being white/Aryan. Do you find this helpful? Yes, I do. Yeah, so basically this terrible take, completely dismantled by basic logic and the community note as well. But we're going to move on to another tweet getting a community note. This one a little less serious, but it says, okay, this Barbie Batgirl cosplay did not need to go this effing hard. Now, for a lot of people, there's a big debate on which movie to see first, since Barbie, the Barbie movie, released at the same time of Oppenheimer. Now, a lot of people are going to both, but basically trying to hype up this whole Barbie with this cosplay right here. So in case it wasn't obvious, this is AI generated, besides the just goofy look of all this and completely not real. But if you zoom in, this is unfortunate. You can see in the background the Twin Towers. Now, if that last tweet and that community note was like a third nuke, this is like the third tower falling at this point. Yes, in case you're confused, the Twin Towers were leveled during the 9/11 terrorist attacks, so that makes it very clear that this is AI generated, and if it wasn't clear enough, it was made extra clear down here by another community note pointing out that this is clearly AI and this user was just posting something that wasn't real. And when this was pointed out to the original poster, they said, "For everyone calling me dumb in the quotes, it took me 10 seconds to realize the towers in the background. Hilariously, that was the giveaway for me. I didn't notice any of the other little details that were off because without glasses, I just don't have good vision." Where this user replies with this meme that always makes me chuckle. It says, "I'm not owned. I'm not owned." I continue to insist as I slowly shrink and transform into a corn cob. Yeah, it's like, okay, it took you 10 seconds to find out how fake this was. It also takes 2 seconds to delete this post. Like, it's got to be a bit of a humiliation fetish to leave up a tweet that has a fact check on it. But hey, it was still good enough to convince like 40 or so thousand people to like it. So I don't know, maybe I'm out of the loop on this one. But moving on to the next brain dead take, it's coming out of Kotaku, who is basically a factory mass producing brain dead takes. This time they are targeting Tears of the Kingdom that released a few months ago, where they share a fan theory that Link has a well-endowed package animated onto his character. Well, spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, that is shadows. Those are shadows. That is not his genitalia. I don't know if that disappoints you or not, but Kotaku is just spreading straight up lies. And it's reasons like this where they're basically implying that Nintendo is animating genitalia onto their characters. It's times like this that reminds us why Kotaku is literally blacklisted by Nintendo, who is no longer going to work with them or provide them quotes or interviews or anything going forward. It's reasons like this that remind us exactly why. But nonetheless, it's ironic that Kotaku, of all people, is pointing out and sexualizing a shadow on a male character. Meanwhile, they have dozens of articles shaming people for enjoying sexualized characters of sexualized female characters. They do this all the time. But moving on to the next one, this time involving YouTube. So a YouTuber named Brad Taste, who does a lot of music reviews, had a recent video demonetized, which is, run-of-the-mill stuff. People get demonetized all the time. But he reached out to YouTube because his demonetization was confirmed on appeal, and he didn't understand because there was no cursing in the first 30 seconds of the video, which was the cited reason for getting demonetized, as you can see right here. So he tagged YouTube, who would respond saying, please share the URL so we can see what's going on. They do, and YouTube provides an update saying, due to the inclusion of inappropriate language in the chat, timestamps 0 to 02 seconds, we determined that the video in question isn't suitable for full monetization and thus will remain the yellow dollar symbol. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you read that right. He was demonetized because in the first 2 seconds of his video, the first 2 seconds, there was a curse word in the chat of his live stream chat. This is the actual screenshot. Of course, now I have to censor it, but you can see the still image from that first second, the first 2 seconds of that video. There is one user who said the F word, just F-U-C-K, not directed at anyone, just they were saying that they're confused as F. Okay, and that was enough to get this video completely demonetized. The whole video. That is insane to me and pretty alarming. So if you're a kind of person who uploads VODs or includes your chat on your page as you're uploading videos or your VODs, whatever, you could get demonetized just because people are talking in your chat. And that's pretty annoying. It's a pretty annoying thing. And also it begs the question how this functions with live streams. If people are cursing in your chat and you're showing the chat on your screen, is that limiting your stream? Are you going to get buried and suppressed in the algorithm because of it? It's likely. It tells me that that's a likely case based on what we're seeing here. But nonetheless, another bad take for YouTube. And of course, we are going to return to our French feminist. Now, if you want the full details of this story, I will list the related video in the description. But a couple days ago, we covered this French feminist who was attempting to cancel legendary manga artist Ken Akamatsu because he was a featured guest at Japan Expo, which this year was hosted in Paris. And she was passing around these slanderous flyers accusing Ken Akamatsu of distributing literal CP with his manga art, and also accused him of being a misogynist, and also of being a leader of a alt-right Japanese political party. All of which are false, and there's no evidence to support any of these things. And to make matters worse, when people looked into this French feminist, number one, the irony of accusing another man of pedophilia over drawings. This person is a Genshin Impact cosplayer. Enough said. And also, they are an avid defender of the Netflix film Cuties, which sexualized hundreds of children in real life. So that was just an embarrassing double standard. But here's a little bit of an update on that situation. Number one, the feminist saw the video. She's not happy. I'm blocked. But second, she provided this update, basically this woman posting her L's, saying, okay, I'm bothering you one last time, but it's important. How I was released from Japan Expo, dragged to the ground by security for having just booed a guest. The mangaka deputy came to defend CP, and why manga publishing has a deep problem with it. So it's poorly translated, obviously, but the gist, based on this tweet and context from other tweets, she went to the convention that Ken Akamatsu was featured in as a guest, and she went in and booed him during his time on stage. Now, do I believe she only booed? Based on their unhinged behavior, I wouldn't be surprised if they did more than that. But even if they just booed, well, they were escorted out and dragged to the ground by security, which is karma coming round and a perfect ending to the story. Makes me happy, should make you happy, and another common L for Twitter feminists. But that's going to do it for this video. I know we parkoured through a lot of topics today, but I want to kind of get rid of the backlog of bad takes from social media all into one video. So I appreciate you guys hanging around and giving it a listen. And yeah, please share all of your related thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.